Well, good afternoon and welcome once again to Ed's Orchids. Now this is going to be my small contribution to the Kirker Lab Dawiana videos. There are three others who are contributing towards this video, which I hope you will all take a look at, because you get different points of view from different people from different parts of the world. And they are Karen's Orchids, Matt by Nature, and Nina Ninja Orchids. So please take a look at those as well. Now this plant is a straight Dawiana. It's neither an Aurea nor is it a Rosita. And it is the most used Cattleya for hybridizing other plants. The only problem with these is that they don't know how much of the characteristics of the Dawiana go into the hybridized plants, because it's not much of the Dawiana shows up in the hybrids, and they don't know why this is or what causes this, but that's just one of those things. But it doesn't stop it being used as the most hybridized Cattleya. Now, one of the most important things I think about these plants is not to let the roots get wet at bedtime. Always make sure the roots are dry before lights out time. The worst thing you can do is let this one go to sleep with wet roots, and that's my opinion, and I think one or two others as well. So growing these in semi-hydroponics, I don't know how they can manage it, but it just shows there's more than one way to skin a cat. Now this plant I originally kept in the greenhouse when I first got it as just a small seedling, and it did okay because I got it in the beginning of the summer months, so it was quite warm in the greenhouse, and during the winter months I took it inside, put it under the Mars hydro lights, and it did very well. I moved it back out into the greenhouse at the beginning of May after a very cold April, but May proved to be very, very cold, with the temperatures not rising any more than 13 degrees, so sort of halfway through then I took it back into the house. So I took it back into the house sort of mid-May, and it's been under the Mars hydro lights, and it's getting plenty of warmth and it's getting plenty of humidity. I mean, in that room where I keep it, I keep the Phalaenopsis, and they all get the same treatment, but the Phalaenopsis aren't directly underneath the Mars hydro light, they're just at one side, and they sort of get just a half light of it. But this one gets the full force of the LED lights. Now, since moving it back into the greenhouse, then it's doing very, very well. In fact, it's doing exceptionally well. I mean, you can see the root growth on it. If I come in, there's a nice new growth started there. That's where the large roots are coming from, but there's plenty more and more smaller growing roots with beautiful root tips on them. So this is doing fine. There's the new growth. You can just see, and plenty of roots at the side as well, all growing. That's what we like to see in all our plants, isn't it? Now, I used to have these leaves sort of pointing straight up, but it wasn't doing too well, so what I thought I would do with this one is just let it do its own thing, which is unusual for me because I don't like that, but it's not quite unruly at the moment. So when the new growths start getting much bigger, I will train them to go straight up. Now, as you know, these grow in the high canopy of the jungles off Panama and Costa Rica, and with being so high up they have lots and lots of light. In that room the temperature never drops below 18-19 degrees, rises to 26, 27 when the weather's nice, and the humidity never drops below 70%. And this is because of the aquarium I have in there with it's no top on, so there's sort of 20 gallons of water always in that room. Now, getting back to it growing high in the treetops in the jungles, this one gets wet every day, and it dries off very, very quickly, so that's what you've got to try and aim for. And also, this plant will remain completely dormant in what would you say, is it December and January in the wild? So then you must never ever water it, because watering it at this time can cause root rot, or even pseudobulb rot, which starts from the bottom of the pseudobulb. Now, unusual for Cattleyas, which when they start getting a bit of rot on them, it generally starts on the smallest growths when you see them coming up and they're black, you know. But with Dawianas, it starts off with the largest pseudobulb, and if it starts off like that, then it looks like you're on a loser with this plant, because it will then quickly spread down to the other pseudobulbs until it gets to the smallest one, which will be the last to suffer from the rot. As for fertiliser, they can't get much in the wild, these. They only get the runoff what the birds drop, or one or two of the animals if they get that high up in the trees. So I don't fertilise these very much indeed. I sort of fertilise it probably, once every 2 or 3 weeks, that's all, with a light fertiliser, either calcium nitrate or Epsom salts at about 180 parts per million, and that's all I give it. The rest of the time it just gets pure RO water. And another strange thing about these plants is that when sheaths do appear, which I think this one might just be starting down there, you see it there? When sheaths do appear, then stop fertilising. Don't give it any more fertiliser to them. Well, I don't think there's much more I can tell you about this plant. Only it likes bright light for long periods, and it likes warmth, and it likes a bit of moisture, but the moisture should dry very, very quickly, probably within the first few hours of watering it, and then leave it dry, you know, for a couple of days before watering it again, or leave it for a week. It won't do it any harm at all. Thank you to my subscribers, thank to everybody who comments on this video, and until next time, I'll see you all later.